So, what are the qualities that every successful lifestyle portrait photographer has? There's 6 in total, and we're going to talk about each of them in this 2-part video series. This particular video will touch on the first 3. Before we get into it, if you're interested in learning more about the how, what, and why behind building a referable and sustainable lifestyle portrait photography business, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of value to share with you right here. When thinking about what it means to be a successful portrait photographer, for a lot of folks, the first thing that comes to mind is that they are technically proficient with their equipment. And no doubt, this is super important. I mean, you need to get good with the tools of the trade that you have. Otherwise, you're gonna be flying blind trying to figure things out on the fly, and the next thing you know, you have a really unhappy person in front of your camera. You need to crawl before you can walk, and in this case, the crawling is understanding how to use the gear that's in your hands so that you can apply it to any situation at any time, especially if you want to command premium rates for your services. I mean, after all, if you're spending more time fumbling through menu options and trying to figure out what the hell you're doing with the camera and the light and all that stuff, and you're not focusing on the person in front of the camera, it's going to show up on that person's face that you're not giving them the appropriate amount of attention during their own portrait session, and it's going to show up in every single photo that you deliver to them. And that means none of them are going to be usable. And that's not a good thing at all. Long story short, being technically proficient with your gear and knowing how to use it in different situations is a foundational element to everything else you do. In fact, you could possess the 6 qualities of a successful photographer, but if you do not know how to use your gear, none of them are relevant in the first place. With all that being said, let's take a look at the first quality. Rather than reinventing the wheel every single time a client books a session, successful portrait photographers have processes and systems that cover all of the logistics and everything related to the session so that they don't have to run around with their hair on fire trying to figure things out in the heat of the moment. They have systems in place that help figure out all of the things they need to know before, during, and after the photo shoot itself. This results in them being able to solely focus on the person that's in front of the camera and not on the details, and as a result, it'll help to create better photos that are high quality, compelling, and help to over-deliver on their promise. By creating consistent, repeatable processes and systems, I'm talking about everything. The way you set up inquiries through emails and set up a phone call to talk to them more about what it's like to work with you. The way you check your equipment and pack it before a session. How you prepare clients for their photo shoot through a lengthy and comprehensive pre-session strategy call. The way you direct, guide them, and hold their hand throughout the photo session itself. How you cull, crop, and color your images in post-production to be able to deliver these photos in a timely manner, and ensuring a quality overall experience from the moment that they inquire to the moment that you deliver those photos to their inbox. When you create consistency in the way that you prepare for a photo session, the way that you prepare your clients for the session, and the way that you conduct the session itself, that creates an opportunity for you to be repeatable in that process over and over and over again. And what it also does is build confidence within you that you actually can do this, and that it is not overwhelming every single time that you grab for the camera and pull it out of the bag. Ultimately, it leads to you being a better photographer and a better business owner. And you know who will notice this high quality service? Your clients. And you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna talk positively about you to everyone that they think could benefit from the same type of service that you just provided to them. This is an essential quality to possess because it always puts in the back of the photographer's mind, well, what if we tried it this way? Or what if we thought about it in this way? And then what that leads to is better strategy, better shoots, and better results for the effort that you put in as well as the investment that your client put in. So, where does curiosity need to show up most? First, it needs to show up in the strategy call, where you ask a lot of probing questions that get to the nitty-gritty so you can find out who this person is, who they serve, the problems they solve, how they solve those problems, as well as unearthing the wrinkles and nuances to their personality and disposition. Answers to these questions will help dictate your entire photo shoot, from which locations make the most sense, what they're going to wear in front of the camera, what type of facial expressions they need, as well as the types of activities that they need to engage while they're in front of the camera. Another place to be really curious about and think about, well, what if, is when you're in the actual space in which you're shooting. Before you take the camera out of the bag, take a once-over around the whole space and be very perceptive in terms of the different types of places to stand and sit and lean and do work and think to themselves, and all of the different types of promotional and lifestyle portraits that you need to take. In fact, when you're doing this walk around, this survey, bring your shot sheet with you so that you can look at the types of shots that you need to get and then start visualizing which places within that space make the most sense to capture those specific photos. And during the session, if you saw a space that you kind of X'd off in the initial walkthrough, give it a chance and go over there with your client and experiment and play and see if it actually can work. And if it doesn't, no big deal, because you'll just be able to go right back on track by going right back to the shot sheet and right back to the initial thoughts you had when you did your first walkthrough of the entire space. It can't hurt to try as long as you're still on time, but it's worth a shot to see if you can get something else that could be really valuable to them. You see, curiosity doesn't always kill the cat, but it always kills the session. Slightly cheesy statement, but I stand by it. While this is a very important quality possessed by successful portrait photographers, it's also a quality that's possessed by successful human beings, period. Unfortunately, life, business, everything doesn't always go the way that we want it to go. But regardless of that, we still need to figure out how to meet those challenges and move forward past them. When it comes to working with clients directly, that means that whatever crap is going on in your world that is distracting you because it is a problem, you need to know that you have to move it to the side, put it away for a second, and be able to focus squarely on the person that's in front of you. And if you're doing it during the strategy call, the person that's on the phone with you or on the Zoom call, you need to be able to be fully present with that person in order to truly immerse yourself in that person's life, to be able to create the types of images that they need to help market and promote themselves out to those that they serve. Now that's dealing with your own stuff. But what happens when the point of contention comes directly from your client? Instead of handling their objections or reservations with, "We're doing it this way because I'm the professional and I said so," you handle it with logic and reason and a cool head. I know it's difficult, especially in the heat of the moment when they're throwing all of this emotion at you and they're telling you that they're tired and they don't agree with where you want to go and they're not liking how the photos are coming out and why are we doing it this way and when is this going to be over? It's hard to keep a level head. I get that. But at the same time, the moment that you jump in the mud with them and start flinging it back and forth, that's the moment that the session is lost. Because it is really, really hard to get them back to the present moment, to get you back into the present moment, to be able to continue the session. So don't do that. Another way that resilience shows up during a client session is when either you miss a shot or the shot that you were setting up and spent all this time on isn't working. We've all been there, including the very successful photographers who have all of these qualities built within them. It's just a part of the game. The key is that you're able to have selective memory and put that miss to the side and move forward so that it doesn't affect your flow, your momentum, your rhythm, your attitude, your confidence. You want to keep that all at a high level. And the best way to do that is to just shake off that miss and move forward accordingly. When you live and exhibit a resilient mindset, that allows you to get past any roadblock, speed bump, or anything standing in the way of you having a high quality session with your client that's in front of the camera. It will allow you to deal with a tough client, a tough location, or a combination of the two, no matter what. Focusing on just these three qualities will immediately make you a better lifestyle portrait photographer. Imagine how much better you're going to be when you watch part 2 of this video and get the other 3 as well. Speaking of that, I put the link to the second video in the comment section below. You can just click on that and check it out. If you found value in this video, you know what to do. Like, comment, and share it with your friends who you think could benefit from watching this video. Well, folks, that's all for now. Be well in life and in photos, and I'll catch you next time.